What's up, everyone? My name is Matthew, and Kaijudo is my favorite card game of all time. I'm currently sitting on about 28 decks right now for this card game alone, and I just wanted to profile these decks to anyone who's willing to sit back and listen to me ramble on about a card game that's been dead for about 8 years. Before we get into the deck profile, though, I do want to make a note that every deck that you will see on this channel is built with open format in mind. However, we also follow a house ban list that my friends and I have set up. So, despite Bottle of Wishes being at 1 in open format, we will be playing 2 copies in our decks because we love the absolute randomness of the card. But we all also agree that 3 is not healthy for the game, and it should never ever be at 3. But we will also limit cards like Andromeda and Blinder Beetle Prime because they're just absolutely oppressive. And no one wants to stare down 3 Andromedas if they don't have to. So for the deck we're profiling today, though, it is 5 Civ Fresh Avenue, which is a combo-based deck that appeared near the end of the game's lifespan and had quite a bit of success at the end. But it's also a weird deck because it plays 0 spells. So we'll get into this deck profile. Starting off, we play 3 copies of Ironwool Tree. It's a 2 for 2500 blocker, but also has the ability to make it so your opponent can't play spells or abilities that would cause you to discard cards. So if you're going up against purple players, you know purple players love Mesmerize. Some of them play Spire Puppets. I've met a few that play Maddening Whispers. Cards like that doesn't bother you. You're fine. This card is absolutely amazing, and I need to pick up more copies. Next, we play 3 copies of Targusher. This card is also amazing. Dude has Slayer, and it also has the ability to tap an opponent's creature whenever it's banished. So, don't like one of the cards, tack into it, kill it, and then you can also tap another opponent creature as well. So you can sort of 2 things at once. Really, really good. Last level 3 play is 3 copies of Hover Talon. It's a Shield Blast creature with blocker, and this card has saved me more times than I can count. And having Shield Blast blocker, it just really, really gets in there. I really like this card. This next card is Circle Aquachase. We play 3 copies, and this card is absolutely amazing. I don't know why this card was only an uncommon, but this creature will let you target any creature, either yours or your opponent, and bounce it back to the owner's hand. So if you're dealing with something that you just can't get around for the turn, go ahead and bounce it. And if you think your opponent might play again next turn, then you just wasted their mana resources, just wasting it to spend it on a card that they already played once, and it can't attack, unless it's a fast attacker. You could bounce back one of your own cards if you want to re-abuse some effects, or you're just worried that they might have a way to get rid of a card that you have the next turn. So this card is absolutely amazing. Why it's an uncommon, I will never know. This card is so good. Next, we play 3 copies of Infernal Taskmaster. He is one of the main combo pieces of this deck. It has the ability to give all of your creatures fast attack, but if your creatures use the fast attack that they're given by Infernal Taskmaster, they are banished at the end of the turn. Which sounds like it would be a bad thing, but this deck relies on things going to being banished in order to combo off. So this card is actually not an issue at all. We play 2 copies of Giggle Charger. This card just searches out a card that has 5,000 or more power from your deck. Search out your boss monsters at the end. If you haven't seen it yet, you can search out a copy of Infernal Taskmaster because it's also conveniently 5,000 power. I would like to play 3 of this, but I also feel that 3 isn't necessary. But I really, really like this card, and I feel it's severely slept on. Play 2 copies of Cryonuclease the Brutal. This card can give one of your creatures Slayer for the turn, and it can also give a creature the ability to attack an untapped creature for the turn. So, if you really wanted to, you could drop it the turn after you search something out with Giggle Charger. You can give Giggle Charger, Slayer, and the ability to attack something untapped. Maybe like crash it into an Andromeda or something. Who knows? Andromeda gone. It's fantastic. We play 3 copies of Cryonuclease. I rarely cast this card from my hand, but this card is still absolutely amazing. It makes it so your opponent cannot attack or block with the creature that they have until the start of your next turn. So it's all the fun of tapping a creature without tapping a creature. But it does work. It's pretty good. We play 3 copies of Rothus the Destroyer. I have never once hard cast this card from my hand. I will tell you though that going up against dragon players and them breaking this in the early game is always a good time, because whenever this card is summoned, you get to banish all creatures your opponent have that have 2,000 power less, so you just get to nuke all of their birds, and then they're sad, and it makes me feel good inside. We played the obligatory 3 copies of the Arbiter, because it was one of the best shield blasts that we had at the end of the game, and while it doesn't tap everything like, say, Stormspark Blast, it's still a creature that will tap 2 cards when it enters the battle zone, and that's pretty good. I kind of consider this one of the boss monsters of the deck. Serpent's the Spirit Shifter. It's a double breaker. 7 for 6,500 is kind of but it has the ability that anytime one of your creatures is banished, you get to put the top card of your deck face down in your shields. So shield generation is pretty good. I have had several games where I just absolutely love abusing this card against my brother, and I would end the game with like 15 shields and him just full of sad, and it's a really good time. Next we play 2 copies of Joko Lunatic Chimp. I both love and hate this card. It's a 5 for 2,000 Shield Blast creature that's essentially a Terror Pit, but only on untapped creatures your opponent controls. But you also don't get to keep him if you use the effect, which is, again, both a good and bad thing. So, let's say your opponent breaks shield, it's this guy, you play him, and then you have to destroy him to destroy an untapped card your opponent controls, which could lead off to some combos, but if you wanted to just keep it as a body, it does nothing, it's just an 8 for 2,000, so, I don't know, I hate the high cost and the low power, but that's, I feel like, one of the weaker points of Kaijudo, just how high Shield Blast creatures are and what little power you get from their numbers. But these make up for the effect, so I guess it's fine. 3 copies of Sumo Artichoke. This card is absolutely amazing. I have several people say this is their favorite card in the game. When it enters the battle zone, it enters the battle zone tapped, and then your opponent has to attack this creature as their next target. They can't attack your shields, they can't attack your monsters, they have to attack Sumo Artichoke, which could stop them for the turn. They may have to wait their last attack for the turn on this guy. It's just a really good card, and honestly, it can win games. We play 2 copies of Grand Manipulator Agorix. I absolutely love this card. It's a double breaker who can bring back cards from your banish pile up to the level of 6. So if you want to mix things up, you could bring back an Iron Will Tree and a Rusalka if you wanted to. You could bring back your Hover Talons. You could bring back 2 copies of Targusher if you wanted to. You could even just bring back a copy of Cryonuclease, or maybe you can get another search out with Giggle Charger. It's a really fun card, and it gets nutty, because its other ability makes it so you can destroy your own cards to give them plus 5,000 power and break in another additional shield for every card that you destroy that is yours. So, let's say you have 2 copies of Targusher you bring back. Use its effect, kill every 2 Targushers. Targushers will go off, tap 2 of your opponent's cards, and then Agorix is now a quadruple breaker with 19,000 power. So you can attack over Haven, because Haven is always a threat. No one likes going up against Haven, and he can just punch over it if he wanted to, or break 4 shields. This card's really, really good. And again, banishes more monsters to get more combos off. And then last, we play 3 copies of Boron the Reality Shaper. This is probably my top 10 favorite cards of the game. Whenever a creature you control is banished, reveal a top card of your deck. If it's a creature, play it for free. If it's a spell, add it to your hand. 8 for 9,000, pretty okay. Double Breaker, always a good time. There's, like, let's say you have him out, and you summon an Agorix. Again, pull back Targushers. Blow up stuff. Tap things, and then just reveal 2 cards off of Boron. Let's say you get back Serpens, and I don't know, whatever else. For the fun of it, let's just say you're bringing back a Joko. That would be a fun time. Then Joko would pop off, and then you destroy something else to control. Since Joko was just banished, you get another shield off of Serpens, and you get another summon off of Boron. It's just a really, really fun time. Many combos can be had, and many tears can be shed. This is probably one of my top 10 favorite decks of the game. Yeah, it's it. It's at least in the top 10. But let me know what you guys think about this deck. What kind of changes would you guys make if you were to play this in strictly an unopened format? What would you do to change this build for yourself? And let me know what your favorite deck in Kaijudo was if you ever played. If you haven't played, maybe you should think about it, because this card game is absolutely amazing. But also, if you haven't ever played this, I don't know why you're watching this video. I'm not sure what my next deck profile will be, but hopefully this was entertaining enough for you to come back and watch it. Not sure what my upload schedule is going to be, because this is all kind of random. And I guess just let me know what I can do to improve. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys again soon.